Hey, how are you this Thursday evening? My name is Crystal Witten with Crystal Witten Studio, and we're going to do a lettering project together tonight. So it feels like it's been a while since we've been on here. I was trying to think, what was the last project we did together? Something last week. I think it was a lettering live, but I can't remember. Isn't that so bad? My whole memory recall is just really bad right now. I think I'm trying to hold too many things in my brain for the kids, for Andy, for myself. So anyway, we're here and it is a stormy night. I don't know if you can hear the thunder. So praying that the power holds and that we don't have a little outage, because even the tiniest little blink will bump me off the internet. So that's what's going on here. So we'll see if it holds, but I love a stormy night. I love a summer storm. In fact, back whenever I was little, I remember going and sitting on the back porch. We had a screened in back porch, and my dad and I would sit out there and, and listen to the thunder and watch the lightning. And that was always so fun. I've always kind of been watching some weather things. And when I moved to Florida, I remember being at the beach when a thunderstorm rolled in and thinking, like, oh, it's going to be like it is in Memphis. Let's stand here under the covered porch and watch. And we were out at the beach and we stood in the little alcove area watching the storm for a minute, and the lightning hit really close by. It was really scary. And Andy said, yeah, this is Tampa. This is the lightning capital of the world. We don't need to be standing out here. So I just will never forget that. But I still love lightning and I love thunder and summer rainstorms. So anyway, hey Yolanda, good to see you. I'm so glad that you were able to jump on and be part of the live today. So we're going to dive in, and I hope that you'll participate. I hope that you will leave some comments for me, drop some suggestions for me. Let me show you what we're doing first before we get started. Let me show you my iPad. So these are the designs that I dropped this month in August for the Scripted Faith Collective. So I'm going to show you the designs that we have. We can either do one of these designs or we can do our own template, like start a new template and use it tonight. So I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think. Hey, Teresa, I'm glad that you're here tonight. So the first one I was going to show you is this one, John 7:37. If anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. And I put this one in for the month of August because I still feel like it's summer. I know everybody is starting to move on to fall, but in my mind, I'm thinking August is still summer. And so this looked like a really refreshing cup of, I don't know, soda water or lemonade or something with the little lemon there. So that's one of the designs that we had that was new this month. The other one is God is in the Story. Have y'all heard that song? I love that song. It just always speaks to me every time it comes on the radio. I hear it and I love to sing along to it. So I made this one for that, because that encouragement of God is in the story, God is writing all the details, He's not leaving anything to chance. We can trust Him. So that's that one. And I definitely want to do something with this one, even if it's not tonight. So we will revisit this one at some time. Hey, Jenny. Hey, Marisa. Hey, Karen. Um, so then I got several requests this month. One of them was for some coffee designs. And so I actually dropped 3 coffee designs this month. I gave y'all some bonus files. Coffee gets me started. Jesus keeps me going. I thought that was so cute. And that might make a cute little sign next to your coffee bar. Or, as a gift for a friend who loves to drink coffee. So that one was fun. And then my cup runneth over, again, another kind of coffee theme, but I got a teacup there, so it could be coffee or tea if you're more of a tea drinker. And obviously from the 23rd Psalm, I used the King James Version for that because I don't know about you, but when I memorized the 23rd Psalm, I memorized it in King James Version. That's the one that always comes to mind. So, plus it just kind of sounds cute. My cup runneth over instead of my cup overflows. And there's nothing wrong with my cup overflows, but I liked the wording of this particular verse. And then we also have coffee is my love language. This one's fun, lighthearted. Again, just something kind of fun if you're wanting to practice your lettering, practice your spacing and your layout. This would be a fun one to do a tracer with. And then we had, I am the vine, you are the branches, John 15:5. This was a request, and I hope that she likes it. I thought it was fun to incorporate the styles with kind of that waviness. I think about like the branches that are extending from a tree. And obviously, these are Jesus's words. Jesus spoke these, and it's just always good to reflect on his words. So that one is that. And then this is a design I did a while back. I have it on a sticker and a card. And this scripture verse always seems to pop in my mind at certain times. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. And so what a promise to memorize, to put in your heart, to allow God to pull to your mind when you need that. And that he is always there. He's a present help in trouble, whatever trouble it may be. And I don't have it right in front of me right now. I don't know if Psalm 46 was written by David, but we know that David wrote so many of the Psalms, and he wrote them from a place of danger where he was on the run for his life. People were seeking to kill him, to take away his position as king. And so we know that he knows struggle, right? And he wrote these words and praised God so much in scripture through his struggles. So I love that. And I think that that's why I and many people probably feel like they can connect with David in a lot of his writings. So, and then we have Grow in Grace, just a very simple design, something that would be quick and easy project if you're looking for something that you can just do quickly and make something. You've got a little bit of time, 30 minutes. This would be a great one because it doesn't have a whole lot of detail to it. And it's just a fun little design. And then here's the only fall one that I did this month. Football is my favorite season because I believe that the start of football is this month. Please don't make fun of me. I don't really follow football closely. I just know when it shows up on my TV screen because my boys are watching it. So that's why I included it. I thought that was a fun one. If you're a big football fan, this would be a fun thing. You could make a shirt out of it or a little sign or something. So, or a little door hanger even. Yeah. So that's our fall one that we have. And if you see the little glitches on the screen, I don't know why it's flickering. I hope it's not the internet because we are having some very stormy weather right now. Just a lot of lightning and thunder. And then the last one is the law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. Psalm 19:7. And I love that because God's word is what we should go to, and it does revive our soul, and reading it is an important thing. And so that was a request also. So, all right, those are the ones that we have new for the month of August. So I want to hear from you. What would you like to do tonight? Do you want to do one of these? Or do you want to do something fall? Are you in the fall mood? Because since we only have one fall design, we could do this one, or we could do something else and we can come up with it together. Marisa says football does start this month. So thank you for confirming. I thought that it did. I thought that I had heard that it did. Preseason, right? We could do something back to school for teachers, just a fun little back to school design. So let me know what y'all want. I see fall, and I see the Psalm 46:2. Which one was that? Psalm 46. So 46:1. So there's that one. Let me have any more votes there. We have a long time to do fall. I know lots of people are doing fall, and fall is fun. I actually went to the store and bought myself some new pumpkins today. Not that I need any more pumpkins. I have lots of pumpkins. I have a giant bin full of pumpkins, but I still bought me a couple new pumpkins today. But we do have a lot of time to do fall because it's still just the beginning of August. So, all right. So I'm seeing 2 votes for fall and 1 for the Psalm 46. So if we did fall, would you want to do the football one, or would you want to do like make up our own design tonight on the live? What do you think about that? So this would be the fall one that we could do, or we could make up our own. Oh, no, I'm seeing 2 votes for Psalm 46:1. So we need a tiebreaker. Somebody, y'all don't be shy. Put it in the chat, and we need a little tiebreaker there of what we're going to do tonight. So I have a couple of options for our project base. We can do a banner. I have some more of these little banners left over from our workshop earlier this year. And I also have a canvas panel. I need to go get some more wooden bases, like wooden rounds and things like that. Terry said fall would be fun, and Psalm. And then Marisa said pumpkins, leaves, or cornucopia. I get the sense that y'all are wanting to do fall. So listen, my Psalm 46ers, we can do that on our next one. How about that? Marisa says, how about both? I don't know if I have time to do both tonight because my family is waiting for me in the other room. I mean, they're not really waiting for me. They are doing their own thing. I planned this time because my son normally has baseball practice, and I assumed that the guys would be gone at baseball practice, but he's not at baseball practice today because he came home from camp not feeling well. So they're all here. But we will do them both at a different time. How about that? So let's do fall tonight. And then next week, or next time I'm live, we can do the Psalm 46 one. How about that? I feel like that's a good compromise. All right. Alicia says, something new. I would like to see how you create. So I can do that. I was thinking ahead a little bit tonight or earlier today of what can we do for fall. I will add this design that we do tonight to the collective. It'll just be another bonus file. And we could do something like happy fall, hello fall. I mean, I know you've seen tons of those, right? Happy fall, hello fall, sweater weather, pumpkin spice junkie was one that I wrote down. Fall is in the air. Harvest blessings. ready for fall weather, or if you've got some other suggestion, let me know. I'm open to it, totally open to it. So I've got this little canvas panel here, and I've got my canvas banner. So we could create on either one of those tonight. Wonderful fall. It's fall, y'all, with pumpkins. That's cute. Sorry if my little auto message goes off. If you say something like fall, I think I need to turn that one off. If you say something like that, it might auto send a DM to you. So I apologize. I hate when that happens, when it just goes off unexpectedly. I've started trying to use things that people wouldn't normally say, like numbers for those little keywords, but I have a bunch of them set up from like a long time ago that will just randomly go off, and I need to set aside a day to fix those and turn them off, and so that they don't just auto spam people. But okay, it's fall, y'all, with pumpkins. That was a good suggestion, and I'm up for that. So let me get out of here. I have this on preview, and I don't normally do that. So how do I get out of it? Okay. All right. So here's my little folder of all the designs that are in the Scripted Faith Collective. We're building it up. It's building up. I'm trying to get us to 100 files so that we can say there's 100 files in here. But it is close. It is very close. All right. So this is my old iPad. I'm not going to draw in purple. We're going to go with black. This is my old iPad. I don't know if you can tell on the screen, but it is cracked. And this last month, it started giving me fits when I was working on the files. Fits. I'm telling you, it was a real big pain. And I've been looking at getting a new iPad for a while. I've been saving. Didn't really want to spend the money on it, but you know how it goes. Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and do it. So I bought the new iPad this last week, got it, started uploading everything, or, getting it to sync up. And I'm telling you, it's probably going to be 2 more weeks. I have so much data in this Procreate app. It's like 40 gigs or something like that of design data. And it's just slowly working away at it. So I'm looking at it every day going, okay, there's a couple gigs. So it's taken its little pretty time, but eventually I'll be able to come on here with the new iPad. But I say all that to say that if it might give me fits again tonight, I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know if the crack was starting to mess with it or what, but this thing's like 8-9 years old. So it's time. It's time for a new one, Let's see. I love Fall for Jesus. Oh, Fall for Jesus. Sorry. Fall for Jesus. That's cute. Marisa says on the canvas board. The canvas board would probably be a little bit easier tonight because it's a little bit easier to transfer onto. So I'm fine with doing it on the canvas board. Football would be fun. Karen likes football. Okay, so y'all tell me. Let's do this. We have Fall for Jesus as one. It's Fall, y'all, with pumpkins, number 2. And then 3 would be the football one. I'll show you the football one again. Here it is. Football is my favorite season. Okay. So 1, Fall for Jesus. You can put that in the chat. 2, it's Fall, y'all, with pumpkins. And 3, football is my favorite season. So I'll give everybody a chance to respond real quick. Roxy, which iPad did I got? Which iPad did I get? I got the new or the latest iPad Pro 13-inch. And it's the M4, whatever that means. I did not get the one with the most storage. I got, I think, the lowest storage because compared to this iPad, I was still good with that. So it is the biggest one, and it is the Pro because I do believe using it for work, I need that extra oomph or whatever that the Pro has versus the Air. And it just, that's what this one was. So that's what I got. And I got the new Pro pencil to go with it. So it was a doozy. It was a doozy, but like I said, I felt like it was time. And this is what I use for my work, and it can't give me fits like it was giving me before. Oh my goodness gracious, that was painful to finish the files for this month. So okay, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 Fall for Jesus. And then 1 football. Is that right? Did everybody vote? Did everybody get their vote in? Roxy, I got it from the Apple store. I just ordered it online and they shipped it to me the very next day. So that was nice. That was nice. I just haven't been able to use it yet. So, I will eventually. Okay, well, it looks like the consensus is Fall for Jesus. I'm a little surprised. I was thinking that y'all were going to go with fall, y'all, with the pumpkins. So Fall for Jesus. Okay, well, I have to think about, and I like that it's only 3 words. So that's definitely doable, much simpler. The longer passages are harder to do. They just take a little bit more time to think through the layout. So a short phrase is always kind of a nice pleasure to do. So I'm going to make sure I've got my pencil that I like. I've got a bunch of different brushes over here. The one that I always seem to lean towards for calligraphy is this Azim. It's spelled like this, AZIM brush. And the creator's name is, and I follow her maybe, I think, or I just downloaded her brush a long time ago, but her Instagram is half a pixel. So I'll just put it here for you to see how to spell it. So if you wanted to go download this brush, you could ask her if it's still available on her website. I've used it for a really long time, so I don't know if it's still available or not, but that's what this is. It's a calligraphy brush, and I just can adjust the size over here on the side. So I'll just put that on another layer in case anybody wants to see it again later. So we can turn on our guides. So we go up here to the little wrench setting, and then you hit canvas, and then you can toggle on your drawing guide, and it comes up kind of in a standard way. It's a gray grid. I don't love that because it kind of messes with my brain with being able to focus. Those lines kind of are distracting to me. So I always will hit here, edit drawing guide, and you can change the color of your grid. So I always kind of go for a light turquoise-ish blue, somewhere around in there. And then you can also change your grid size if you want the squares to be really big. I don't know if you can. That was my microphone. Hold on. Pause. Time out. Okay, it's my microphone. I knocked it off whenever I went to show you what the grid looked like. So give me a second. Streaming is always one of those things Okay, can you hear me? I knocked my microphone over whenever I was trying to show you. Streaming is always one of those things where you just never know what's going to happen. So, all right. I don't know if you could hear me when that was unplugged or not. Hey, Doris. I'm sorry, I always say Doris. Doris. And then let's see. Fall for Jesus, he never leaves. That's cute too. That's really cute. I have not seen that. Okay, so back to what I was saying previously. You can change your grid. So I don't know if you can see, but the grid is really large here. And so you just take your grid size here up or down, depending on how big you want it. So that's a personal preference type thing, but I do like to work with the grid. It does help. And now Procreate has this nice little feature where you can drag an object, and when you're in the center, it lights up yellow. And I'll show you what I mean. It's fantastic. So, Jesus. So see, if I grab that and I pull it over to the middle, I don't know if you can see it. I'll turn my brightness down just a hair so that maybe it's not so blinding. All right. So now when it's selected, it's got the bounding box around there, and I move it. If I'm in the center, it lights up with this yellow line that goes all the way top to bottom. And then if I'm in the middle vertically, like here, it goes this way. So it's a really nice visual tool to see that your stuff is centered. So here we go. Jesus. Wait, it was Fall for Jesus, right? So I'm going to show you just a couple different things. Normally, whenever I work on a template design, I will just play around with a bunch of different ideas first until I land on one that I really like. So we could do a Fall for Jesus. So I'm going to select the word fall all around it. I'm just drawing around there, tapping the arrow, and I can now just move this because it's all on the same layer together. And so I can put that in the middle. And then with my Jesus, I can also select that. So I'm just drawing around the part that I want to select, grab the arrow, and see that was already in the center because we did that a minute ago. So fall and then 4. So I'm going to bring the brush size down just a little bit, and we can do script. We can do all uppercase. So let me show you a couple different things. Fall 4. I'm going to just do the script here inside that little space. Fall for Jesus, something like that. This is just driving me nuts. You probably can't even see it, but it's not straight. There we go. So Fall for Jesus, we can do it like that. Or I'll select it. I want to save it, but I also want to try something else. So I'm going to, I swipe down with 3 fingers, and it brings up this little thing, and you can copy, cut, paste, cut and paste. So I'm going to cut and paste. It's going to take it off that layer and put it on a new layer up here for us. So now I can turn that off, but it's still preserved for later if I decide that I want to go back and I don't want to have to redraw it. So layers are an awesome tool. You definitely want to utilize your layers. So I'm going to go back to Fall for Jesus, that layer, and I'm going to do all uppercase here. Fall for Jesus. Now I feel like there's kind of this little gap over here that's kind of bothering me just a little bit. And I'm trying to decide, do I want to, do a different J? Fall for Jesus. Do we like that? Oh, Teresa said she Googled the brush that I'm using and the creator and she caught it. Well, look at you. You're quick. You're just on top of it. I don't know if I love that J. Let's try this. I also don't love this Jesus. Seems weird to say that. I don't like this style of this word Jesus. So I'm going to cut and paste that as well, just like I did a minute ago. I'm going to hide that on a different layer. And then let's try styling that word in a different way. So and this is me sitting on my couch, working on files just over and over and over. Undoing and doing again until I'm happy with it. Now, something's weird, and I do think it's kind of something with this iPad where it's more shaky than it used to be, and that's something that I've been trying to figure out. If it's my hand more shaky, like some of my lines just haven't been as straight as usual. So Fall for Jesus, what do we think about that one? Do we like this Jesus better or the first one? So let me put it on a different layer again. Swipe down, cut and paste. All right, so we have that one or that one. What do you think? All cursive, which I like that it kind of feels a little bit more balanced. It feels like the J comes out more this way, and it just feels more centered to me for some reason. So Marisa, is this the first one or the second? Okay, this one, I don't want to confuse y'all. This is the first one. And then this is the second one. Okay, I'm going to give y'all a second to respond, 1 or 2. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to go back down here. And so the word for, I'm going to just add a little bit of serifs to that. And these are usually optional. If you don't want to add those in your design, you have full control, and it's so versatile that you can also make changes while you're working with them in the design. Like as you're tracing it onto your project, you can decide to add those or not. So let me make that O just a little bit bigger. Come on. There we go. Fall for Jesus. The 4 is throwing you off. Okay, interesting. Second one. I like the second one better too. So we're going to stick with this one. The 4 is throwing you off. So here's what we could do. If we don't like that 4, then we could still use the other one. I'm curious, do y'all like more, do Do y'all like more of this thick calligraphy style, or do you like the designs that have the multiple styles in them that are a little bit more detailed? I'm curious about that because that's something I'm always wondering about is what style you're looking for. So I don't necessarily want to use this particular one because my F touches my E, and I don't like that. It needs to fit more within the space, but that doesn't mean that I can't do a different one. So I'm going to fall for Jesus like that. So much of this is always just trial and error, and then me deciding which one I like more, you know? Sometimes a design really does come together quick and easy and nice, and I love when that happens. Sometimes it doesn't. It's a little bit more of a struggle, and then I have to play around with it longer. So I was making it a little bit bigger. What about a block style for 4? Okay. Yeah, we could do block. Roxy likes multiple styles. Yolanda likes multiple styles. Okay. Trying to take your comments into consideration here. So I'll show you what a block style would look like. And then y'all can say yes or no for that. Okay. Okay. So this is going to be me kind of doing this quickly because there's other ways to build this out. So I just want to give you an idea of what that would look like. Just a little bit smaller. This is obviously just like one block style. It's not, there's other block styles too that we could do. Fall for Jesus. What do we think? So we had block, cursive, or the sans, not sans, serif. This would be the serif. This would be the cursive, and then the block. And I think that I would make that F come up more so that it's the same size. Kind of like that. So what do y'all think? Serif? Too many choices. I know. This is what I live with. I live with too many choices. And then I go, I don't know. Serif number 2 would be the script of the monotype. Yep. Okay. You want to know what I think looks best? I really love that. And I like that the F kind of comes, it wraps over around on that side of the J. So are y'all good with that? Are y'all good with if we do that one? All right, fall for Jesus. And then one other thing that I want to do. So I can select my different layers here, and I'm going to make it just a tad bit smaller because I want to fit a leaf in there or something. And I loved what Roxy said, he never leaves. And I think that's so cute. But I'm sticking with the 3-word phrase tonight so that we have time to do the transfer on the project. Okay. So I'm going to grab a layer and fall for Jesus. Oh, it's cute. Just draw some little leaves in here, maybe. I used to be able to do like a good maple leaf. That's 5 points, right? That's not a good one. Okay, hold on. Let me think. Sometimes I have to pull up a picture or something. No, that's not good. Hold on. I have this little banner that I bought last year at the end of fall. And I thought one day I'm going to do something fun with this little banner. It's already painted all these pretty fun fall colors and everything, but I just pulled it out so I could look at the shape. I mean, that's an intricate leaf. But something that it kind of goes down maybe. Oh, I don't know if it's going to work in this spot. I like that one better than this one. So I'm gonna redo this one over here. So anyway, this is the hard part. This is the hard part because it is a lot of trial and error. And then I go, oh, I don't know. But the fun part is making something with it. Once it's done, or watching y'all make something with them, that's super fun. I think maybe if it comes out a little wider. So you get a little sneak peek into my brain. No, I'm not liking it. I was just trying to tighten up the look of it just a little bit, but this is where sometimes I will go on and grab something I can look at and use it for inspiration. Because sometimes it's just hard to picture it in your head. All right, but you know what? It looks a little bit like a 3rd grader did it, so I'm going to erase it. I'm just going to do, I think part of it is that I'm trying to make it wrap a little bit around the word Jesus. I'm trying to like make it kind of mold around the letters, and it's just not that kind of shape. Let me try one other thing. Almost like a star, right? No. Maybe that's the problem, is I'm trying to do it more like a star. Copy, paste. All right, and now we can flip it. Kind of do them side by side a little bit. All right, just let's put a pin in that one for now. I'm gonna go over here and do, I've seen, okay, some, just make them a little bit more whimsical. I'll work on this a little bit to kind of improve my leaves for the template. All right. Once I get it up for you, it'll be a little bit more finalized. But when I tell you that I could sit here and do this for an hour just drawing leaves, I don't think you want to watch that. So we're just going to fit that right there. Fall for Jesus. We got 3 little leaves. Could do like a little, some little, almost makes me think of wind, like the leaves blowing with some little curly cues there. All right. So at least that gives us a place to start. Should I just scrap that one? I think I'm just going to scrap that one. Okay. And I'll work it up a little bit better before you see it in the collective. Okay. I promise. So for tonight, I wish I could shrink this down and just trace it. Okay, forget it. Gonna go with just regular leaves. All right, there we go. Okay, I think that's what we're going to work with tonight. All right. Now I'm going to print this. And so Marisa requested that we do it on this canvas panel. It is 7 by 9. This is a little one. So I'm going to print it. Let's see. Share, print. All right, get my printer. This print box on here doesn't give me a lot of options, so I can't do the resizing mess that we do with some of our other things. Let me just double check that though. No paper size. So I'm gonna go ahead and print it full size. And then we can see how much we're gonna need to shrink it down just a little bit. And I'm gonna resize it in the iPad for now instead of doing it on the computer. So we're gonna grab our ones that we're keeping. I'm going to duplicate it. Here's a trick. If you're doing something on your iPad and you want to make it smaller, make a copy of it first, because you can't really go back bigger without losing the resolution, the clarity. It's going to lose the crispness of it, and it's going to get all fuzzy looking and pixelated. So because I'm going to use this to resize it, now in my computer, I can resize it all I want to. It's no big deal. But when you're working in your iPad in Procreate, if you're going to go smaller, you really can't go bigger again. All right. So try to do whatever it is you're working on at the largest size that you think you're going to want to print it. That way you don't lose your resolution, if that makes sense. All right. So let me grab that off the printer. So there we go, our Fall for Jesus. And you can see that it is way too big for the canvas panel. And so I'm going to shrink that down. And I don't have a ruler on here to know, but I'm going to count my grid spots. So this needs to come in probably at least 2 clicks. Whoops. And then I'm going to keep it, I'm going to center it again just because I like things to be nice and centered. And then I'll print it again, and we're going to see if that's good or if we need to go a little bit smaller. Print. Print. All right. Hey, Donna. Welcome. Welcome. Even if you're late, no worries. You can go back and watch. We were just trying to figure out what we were going to do tonight. So I made a brand new template for the Scripted Faith Collective, and it's going to go, once I work on the leaves a little bit, it's going to go into the collective to be a file that you can use for making a fall project. So we worked together tonight to come up with what we wanted it to say and what it was going to look like a little bit. So, all right, let me grab that. Okay, All for Jesus. I can kind of hold it up like this. Let me show you and see the board in the background. And I think that's a good size. So I'm going to just fold the paper around there. Okay. So I don't really want to pull out my trimmer right now. Okay, I'm going to set the iPad aside. Maybe this will be the last time you see this old ancient iPad. So I do have a trimmer that I could pull out that would make it a lot easier to do, but just want to, be able to see that it's centered. So here, let's take some scissors. Leave enough at the top so that you could tape it down if needed. Whoops. Okay. So the way you cut it out really doesn't matter. So I didn't even need to think about getting my trimmer out, but I can see if it's centered or not. Let me take the plastic off. That would be helpful. That's definitely step one, is take the plastic off, because all of your efforts would be in vain at that point if you left it on. And you know that I can make that mistake sometime. So, all right. And I have some washi tape over there. So I'm going to grab that. Grab my washi tape. Now we need to make the board a color first. So, I love that people are bringing in all these pretty eucalyptus greens and everything for their fall projects. I have a pretty color. I think it's called wasabi. I've used before. Clover is like a green. And then maybe we could give it some orange accents. We could do it. I'm thinking if we did like a dark green for the background, that we could do white lettering and then like some orange accents maybe to it. So that's an option. I have tropic orange, but I know the lighting is not the greatest, but that's a little bit more tropical. and this is a little light orangey, but I kind of like the vibe of being a little off the orange and the browns, I go both ways because I have a lot of fall stuff, but I also like the new trend of the purples and that kind of thing. So let's do the background green. And I'm just going to put that on. And then I've got my little sponge brush. So I wasn't sure if, what we were going to do tonight. I could have prepped it, and I thought like, well, maybe I'll prep a background, but I didn't know if you'd want to do fall or back to school. So it was going to look different depending on what we chose. So I am just getting this on here real quick, and I have my heat gun already plugged in so we can hopefully get it to dry kind of faster. I smelled dinner in there. I made some chicken before I came on here, and they were making some quinoa and rice. My kids have never been introduced to quinoa before. Have y'all had quinoa? What do you think about it? My son was like, "What's this?" And I said, "It's kind of like rice, but it's got some good protein in it." So I thought it would be a good night to try that out. So I'm curious if they liked it or not, because they've already eaten. All right, let me let that dry. Let me grab my heat gun here. Those are good colors, Marisa. Yes. I like burnt orange. I'm from the, all my family in Texas are Longhorn fans, University of Texas Longhorns, and they're burnt orange. And it's not the reason why, but when we got married in September. And so I wanted a real pretty fall wedding with fall colors. And the bridesmaids' dresses were this really pretty iridescent burnt orange color. And so, of course, all my family in Texas was like, "Oh, she picked that for Texas." But I didn't. I didn't go to school there. So I don't really have any allegiance to colleges. But it was a really, really pretty color for bridesmaids' dresses. And it had that like iridescent kind of look to it in the light. And anyway, back almost 22 years ago. So it's crazy to think. I still love everything that I picked for the wedding. I don't know that I would change anything. I just still love everything that I picked. That was so pretty 22 years ago, but very dated now, probably. All right, kind of needs a second coat. You can see that it's a little bit streaky there. Oh, that's glitter. I don't want that. Purple glitter. So, I'm downstairs tonight in the stock room. This is the stock room. And I have shelves all around with all the cards and products and everything that I was closing out this whole last month. The whole month of July was like the closeout sale, getting rid of a lot of product. And I am looking forward to, once I finish clearing everything out, being able to turn the space down here into a cool, place to go live from. Because I like my space upstairs in the little corner of the third floor, but it is super hot up there. the air condition doesn't flow very well, and it's kind of my kids' space. We set it up to be a little space for them, a hangout space for them, and then I took over a whole corner of it and felt bad about that. So I'm really looking forward to, in the next few weeks, hopefully, being able to set up a nice spot in here to have like a more permanent setup for my lives. But this table that I'm working on is a movable island almost. It's a long work table. It's like 7 feet long. And we got it from IKEA and put it on caster. Like we put it on a bookshelf. So it's got the little cubes underneath it for all my shipping stuff. And then we put it on wheels, and it's been the coolest thing. I just push it around the room based on like what I'm needing for the day, what, space I need to get to or whatever. So I'm thinking about keeping it because it's been awesome, but it's really long and this room is not that big. And so I've got to decide if it's worth hanging on to or if it takes up too much space, because my printer is big and it takes up a lot of space. And anyway, it's fun. But do you love like being able to change up a space in your home? I love doing that. And I don't feel like I have the opportunity to do it very much because we kind of we get things settled and then we leave them for forever, It's really fun to be like, okay, I can start fresh and do something new in here. And I'm excited about that. So I got to start me a Pinterest board or something for like fun little setup. So, all right. So let me finish drying this. I'm still trying to find a good orange. This is light orange. And then I have this bright Florida orange. Yes, this green is so pretty. Okay, it's called Clover by Folk Art. It's really pretty green. It's very rich. I like it too. All right, so what I think I'm going to do is, here, let me pour out a little bit onto my paper plate and see what it looks like outside the bottle. I'm going to just do a light texturing to the background because I love doing that. I feel like it adds a lot. And it doesn't take a lot of paint. And then we'll letter over on top of that. That's my plan. So here's the two colors. We've got light orange and orange, which reminds me of a Florida or Tennessee orange. So I can mix them. And see what happens if I mix them. Let me use a bigger paintbrush. So that bright orange definitely takes over. But let me add just a little bit more of the light orange in there. And we're just going to do a light background texture. And maybe we'll even leave it not totally, I was going to say maybe we'll leave it not totally mixed together and let it kind of be a little variance in there. Okay. So I'm going to grab my chip brush. So if you've seen me do this before, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a little chippy brush where the edges are uneven. And I'm going to get some paint on there and then take 90% of it off. And then we're going to, this is the scary part. Are you ready? Let me put down a little piece of paper that is going to protect my table. have some packing paper. And this will I think I got the most crinkled paper in the closets. They're not all this crinkled, but it was on top. So, all right. Okay, ready? You ready for this? We're going to just do a very light hand and pull it all the way up, all the way down. And then we're going to get a little bit more paint on there. Just try to do very even-handed. And then if you want to go side to side, you can. It kind of gives it a linen textured look. And so because it's heavy here, I'm going to come back over here and do it again. So I like it. I like the unevenness of it. If that bothered you, you could do a little heavier up top, so then that would balance it out. So, all right, that doesn't take long to dry usually, but I'm going to still hit it with the heat gun for just a second to make sure that it doesn't smear when we go to trace the design. Okay. All right. Now for the fun part. I mean, this was all fun, but this is the fun part because you can really see it start to come together. So we'll put this on here. And I've got my washi tape. You can use painter tape or really kind of any tape that you want. Scotch tape maybe is not going to be your best bet, but like masking tape would work. And so I'm just going to tape the top of that template there. All right. And then I've got my graphite paper that we use. And remember, shiny side down. All right. I'm just going to slide that up under there. And then I'm going to grab a pencil and I'm going to just get to tracing. Just outline this real quickly. This will probably take a couple minutes. This will be my first fall decoration in the house this year. And I have a big tub, a real big tub up in the attic. And I started thinking the other day, do I want to get that down yet? I have a rhythm to my decor, and it all is based around Christmas, of course. So Christmas goes up as early in November as I'm able to get to it. So sometimes, I think last year it was Halloween and I pulled out boxes because I was so excited to decorate for Christmas in our new house. And I was excited to figure out where everything was going to go. So I do love setting up for Christmas early and being able to enjoy it for a really long time. So because of that, I do fall, I mean, sometimes in August, but definitely in September. I think everybody's probably setting up for fall, by September. You can correct me if I'm wrong and you don't, but I was thinking, should I go ahead and get it out? Is it too early? It's still so hot here. And it's still hurricane season. But hurricane season goes well into November. I think it's like November 20th or something. Yes, Marisa, I should have used white graphite paper. I should have used white graphite paper. You are right. You are right. I will go over with the white paint pen, but I just grabbed the graphite paper that was sitting right next to me, and I hopefully will not regret that. So, ay. The main thing with the white versus the black graphite paper is that sometimes the black lines are hard to cover up with the white paint pen. So that's, the main reason. But we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. I wish I had seen your comment earlier. Anyway, I'm trying to think of who's on here, if anybody is from Florida. But, our hurricane season goes well into November, but the main activity that we see is usually between end of August and October. And in my experience, usually the beginning of October. So last year, we had a big storm. Well, there was just a bunch of storms. I'm not going to do all those little lines on the leaf, just the basic outline of it. All right, let's check it. It looks good. Make sure I got everything. All right, and then we can pull that off and set it aside. So I don't know if you'll be able to see the lines. Kind of see the lines a little bit there. So, all right, white paint pens. I've got multiple sizes. I started bringing everything down from the third floor, so it's all kind of shifted here for me. So, okay. So I've got the Sharpie, and I thought I had I wonder where it is. I have a medium, like fine in the Posca. It might have gotten left upstairs, but that's not a big deal. So I'm curious really how the Sharpie marker will transfer. Will cover up the dark lines was really what I was trying to say. So let's just see. I will just see. My experience is that the white usually needs a couple coats, regardless of what pen it is that you're using. Marisa says, how do you store your templates after using? So I haven't come up with a really great organized method yet. Usually I get done with a live and I just leave everything and go about my day and come back later and pick up all my stuff and put it in a stack, and I have a folder. So a lot of times I'll just take it just like this, fold that tape down, and then stick it in a folder. And I just have a bunch of them in a folder with the tape and everything still on it. So that's been my method so far. It's not organized really by any means, but they're there for me to go back through and look at them. So, okay. I think because our background is so dark that the black, it's covering it up nicely. It's not super noticeable because it kind of fades into the dark background. So I'm just going to trace. I'm starting to need reading glasses. So lately I've been noticing that my eyes are not what they used to be. And I wear contacts. I've worn contacts since 7th grade. But usually up close, I have no issues. And lately, I've been struggling seeing details with my lettering. So, can anybody relate to that? And then it got me thinking, should I wear reading glasses with my contacts? Is that what people do? I don't know. Or should I just go back to the eye doctor and have her redo my prescription? So I don't know. But I do have a couple readers that a friend of mine gave me for my birthday when I turned 40. She gave me like 4 pairs of reading glasses as a joke, but she was like, "You're going to need these." And I laughed about it. And then I stuck them in my bathroom closet. And last week I went and found them and pulled them out. I was like, I'm going to use these now. So actually, I have one right here. So this is one of the ones that she gave me. And let's see if it helps. I don't know. It might help. Okay. So do you wear readers if you wear other glasses or if you have contacts? I don't know. I really need somebody to fill me in. So, let's see what I've missed y'all saying. Oh, Marisa says it's never too early to start decorating, in my opinion. And I agree with you. I agree. And I'm going to look like a librarian here doing this. You know, if you're feeling the fall, just decorate for fall. And who cares what anybody says? So I know people who start listening to Christmas music as early as June. It's my father-in-law. He loves Christmas music. So in fact, I should call him and say, what Christmas music are you listening to today? And he'll probably tell me. So all right. I love these nice thick lines. They're so easy to fill in. So easy to see and to trace. So tell me, what do you do when you're working on tracing a template? Do you put the news on? Do you have music you like to listen to? Is there a show that you put on? Or I don't know. What is it that you like to do when you're doing a template? If I was sitting in here by myself, I'd probably pull up one of my YouTubers that I like to listen to, breaking down some different court cases because I am a law nerd. I like to listen to court cases about true crime type things. I've talked about that before. But lately, my kids have gotten me on to Forrest Frank's music. Do y'all know who Forrest Frank is? He's a youngin', as I say with my reading glasses. He is so awesome. And they've been listening to his music for probably the whole school year. But I didn't know. Sometimes my son will DJ and he'll pick songs when we're driving in the car together. And he would just pick different people. But then after a while, probably the last 6 months or so, I started noticing it was all this guy's songs, Forrest Frank. And so I started following him on Instagram because I was like, well, I want to know what he's all about. He sings Christian music. Some of it is kind of like a rap style or whatever, but not like real rap, just more like, I don't know how to describe it. Not normally my cup of tea, but some of his songs a lot of them are super catchy and so uplifting and happy and joyful, and I find myself smiling, and a lot of them are just plain, like, flat out scripture. Um, and so I just like, I like this guy, and let me make these little jagged lines there. So he broke his back recently skateboarding in the front yard with his son. His son looks to be like maybe 2 years old, maybe younger. And he fell off a skateboard right in front of his Ring camera and broke 2 vertebrae. And he's a young guy. He looks like he's probably in his 20s. So he was laid up in bed, and I don't know if he was on tour. I know that he was here recently in concert, and so I don't know if he was still on tour or if that had completed, but he broke his back and he was laid up in bed, and he started writing a song, God's Got My Back. And I thought, oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Like, he broke his back and he's singing about God's got my back. And the song is so good. And there's a whole part in it that's scripture. And so then he started this back and forth with this other creator, these 2 guys, and he was like, I guess they were like kind of being, I don't know, cheeky or whatever. And they were like, here's how you write music, like Forrest Frank. And they were like, trying to replicate his sound. And Forrest Frank was like, I really like that. Let's do this. Let's write this song. And so they did this back and forth thing on Instagram where it was like, they wrote a little bit and then he wrote a little bit, and they were just posting on Instagram their little snippets, and people went crazy over it. And then they released it last Friday, and it went viral. It was like at the top of the charts, even with secular music. And it's called Lemonade. And it's this cute little song, but it's so uplifting. And I don't even know how to explain it. But lately I've been putting on a little bit of Forrest Frank when I have been doing some lettering and everything, because it's like gets you in a good mood. So if you like music and you haven't heard of him, you should go look him up. So, okay. Fall for Jesus. Fall for Jesus. What do we think? Oh, Karen, that's Criminal. I have not heard of that podcast, but I'll have to check into that because that sounds like something that I might like. Marisa says too early for Christmas music. I know, but listen, some people like it. It's just whatever's floats your boat, Let's see. Embrace the readers. I know I've got a pair down here and a pair upstairs, so we're gonna do it. We're all in. And I'm going to bed earlier now too. So my husband is always calling me an old lady because I like to go to bed early now. It's just a joke, but we just change in life as we I used to be a night owl, and I would stay up till 2 a.m. and work on projects and things, but not any longer. All right, so I've got my paint and the color that I mixed for the background. So since I've got plenty on there, I think I'm going to just add a little bit of detail to the letters and see if we like it or not. So thank you, Monique. I think it looks really nice too. The white definitely pops off of there. It's a nice look. So I'm going to do just a little thin orange. Let's just kind of see what it looks like about midway down. And kind of think I'd like it to go all the way, just in that real thick And if you do something and you feel like you made a mistake, you could always go back with more white paint and cover it up, you know? So, because I was really enjoying that crisp white look. Just getting a tiny little bit of paint on my brush. There. And I know in the lighting it looks a little yellowish. I kind of want to offset that. It's a little too orange. So I guess I could go back over it with the white paint pen again, but I'm looking to see what other color that might work with it. I don't have like a lighter green eucalyptus, which was what I was thinking would look really good. I have that wasabi green color, which is a little bit more springy. Let's see. This is kind of like a pale yellow, but I don't really want to go more yellow. I like the green. So, light orange over it, yes, but the white just was like such a nice pop, you know, and I feel like that looks a little bit too, I don't know, Tennessee orange for me. So, where's my wasabi color? It disappeared. I have a darker green, but I'm afraid that's going to take away from the white too. How about, oh, here it is. It was kind of blending in. Let's just see what, just a touch, just a tiny little touch of this wasabi color will do. So I'm going to just layer it there. And I like that. I think it's a little easier on the eye. You can still see the orange, but it's a nice blend. And it just eases my eye a little bit. I wish y'all could see it without the camera skewing everything. Okay. I think this is a really nice, even though I felt like wasabi was a little bit more of a springy green, and I know that my lights are kind of getting bad because I'm losing daylight, but the springy, it looks like kind of a springy green, but really over that white with the green, dark green background, it's nice, and it doesn't give spring vibes to me. So I think that's a nice little fix. So don't be afraid if you do something, you know, if you try something, everything is fixable. You can always go back and adjust it. I think it would be fun to do a little bit of like light green around these leaves. So just to give them, set them apart a little bit. And I'll go back over it with the paint pen so it's a little bit sharper. But yeah, I like how that sets those apart from the background. What do y'all think? What color background would you use? I'm curious for this design. Would you go full in on the orange background? Because you could do, let's think, you could do orange background with some brown texturing to offset the orange, and then the white lettering on top of it. I've never been one to shy away from color, so I like color. Sometimes it's challenging to find a good color blend for things. All right, so let me hit that real quick with the heat gun. We're almost done. We're almost done, and y'all helped me design this whole thing. How fun is that? Hey, Linda. This is so fun. I'm glad that y'all were here and you told me what you liked and you had a hand in picking what we were going to do. So I'm just going to go back over here lightly so that the white paint is nice and crisp. And then we'll be done for the night. So if you're in the collective, I will add this. I will say I will work on getting it up tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Friday. Yeah. So I can work on getting this up tomorrow for you so that you can use it over the weekend. And I would love it if you would take a picture of whatever you make or your progress and post it so that we can see it. You can post it in the Scripted Faith Collective group over in there. And y'all don't be shy to post things. Everybody's gonna love it and be encouraging. Don't feel like, oh, nobody's gonna care. People love to see what other people make, and it is always a lot of fun to get on and see new stuff. So, all right, what do we think? That is our design that y'all came up with. So, yay for you! That was so fun. I really enjoyed that. I appreciate y'all being here tonight. I know this was a little bit longer live than I typically do, but it was neat. And if you jumped in at the end and you don't know what we did, you should go back and watch the replay because we designed this design straight from the iPad. We did it together and we printed it off and then we made something with it. So anyway, love seeing y'all, love interacting, love hearing what y'all think and what you like and all of that. The different colors. I see that y'all would do different things for your background. It's great ideas. And we'll have to do this again for sure. So all the colors are not necessarily Folk Art brand. I just go in and pick what I like off the shelf. Sometimes it's Americana, sometimes it's Apple Barrel, and sometimes it's Folk Art. So it just kind of depends on whatever the color is. But the colors that I used tonight were Folk Art Clover for the background. And then we mixed together this Craft Smart light orange and orange. And then we used the white paint pen and then the wasabi, which I kept putting it away and I couldn't find it. Wasabi is Folk Art. It's called Wild Wasabi. So those were our colors for tonight. So, all right, y'all have a wonderful night, a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.